Rebound and rebuild.
In life, you don't lose, you learn.
Every one of us has potential.
100%.
The winner is...
Here we go. Rebound and rebuild.
I mean, I love that track.
Man, I love that track, bro.
So, welcome everyone to another episode of Rebound and Rebuild. My name is Carlos, the creator, and I'm here with my bro.
Yeah, Coach Charles.
And we're here sitting in our very first studio, created essentially for us.
Yeah.
So, I think for all of those that have been with us, you've heard me talk about how my wife and I were starting a new venture. And we created a content creation studio here in the heart of Orlando.
Downtown,
man,
literally. Talking about rebound and rebuild, bro.
And we're sitting in lab 2
of 4.
It's
crazy.
So, but anyway, this is our very first YouTube or our very first podcast video.
Yeah.
So you're seeing us, how we look.
Yes.
So this is me. I'm a Mexican, very good looking one. And I got
I'm Caucasian.
Who, of course, is, you threw me off for a second. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah.
But this is Charles. As you can see, I've showed him off so many times on how athletic he looks. But this is Charles. But we're very happy that you guys have taken time to listen to our podcast, Rebound and Rebuild. And now you get to know who we are.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, but Charles, how was your week?
Man, the week has been going great. And, you know, we've been doing this book that we have pretty much finished. We're in the final phases. We're in that part now where they're doing page design and then creative for the cover. We've got some incredible endorsements. I mean, Olympic medalists and commanding sergeant majors and all these people who have been impacted by the book. But the point of the point that I want to make about it is that it has been one of those things that it has taken everything to get to this point. This is like a 3-year process, bro. Yeah. And, you know, in other people's life, they're like, okay, that's a little too long. Mm-hmm. But it kind of talks, I guess, points to what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. You know? No. What about you?
I mean, it's never easy.
No, of course.
But the things that last are the things that take time.
That takes time.
With us, actually, we've been working here at High Hello Studios, High Hello Labs. Beautiful. And it's definitely taking a toll on us.
Sure, I can imagine.
And not only physically, but financially. Right. Like we've had to pour in so much to make it, you know, happen.
What it is, right.
And the good thing about having multiple businesses is that you can take from one to help the other.
That's right.
In the time of need.
That's right.
But I will not lie to you. Like, it's nice to just throw in all the logs in that fire pit and let it ignite. But now it's like, okay, I need to maintain that fire going on in that pit.
Which is a perfect segue into what we're talking about.
Exactly. You know, we're talking about how we are going to start, keep, and honor the fire, which again, the fire is our business, our businesses.
Our mission.
Right. And, you know, the first thing is, and we've talked about this before in some of our other episodes, but like, how do you identify what your fire is? And like, Charles, tell our viewers and our listeners, like, how can they know what do I need to do, or like what I want to do?
That's a great question, man. There's so many ways to look at this. Sometimes the fire happens or the moment comes, the thing that we need to do by circumstance, right? We're forced into a moment where it is a survive or die. So you got to make something happen or that's the end. But that's not essentially where we hope our viewers or listeners are. Yes, things can happen and it can create that kindling and that fire that gets that start. But we would like for it to be one of those things where we let ourselves define what that purpose is, what that passion is. And I heard it said this way. There was a minister, some of you may have heard of him. And again, I know some of our listeners aren't believers, but we always tell people wisdom is everywhere. If you're really willing to listen and hear, you'll receive something good. But T.D. Jakes, he said, the thing that makes you cry defines oftentimes your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and I can say that right now. Like in your life, what are some things that no matter where you see it, or if you hear it, or if you envision it, it really does, man. Like those emotions just come out.
Yeah, totally. It's, when it came to this thing, I'd been working for a company for over 13 years.
Yes.
Very successful at it. I loved my job. I loved the company. But it got to the point where I knew like I had to move on.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was different steps that I needed to take and they were risky and I was afraid. But a very wise friend told me, do it in fear.
Do it afraid.
And I did. And I
do
did
it right now.
But it was one of those things where I try to realize like, what is it that I even want to do? And I even questioned my profession. Like I was like, was I even really good at it? Do I want to keep doing that?
Right.
Because even in your profession, which I loved, and I loved every day of it. I got to travel to so many places. I got to work with so many people. Yeah. We got to work on some top-end projects. But there was still that when I left, it was what is it that I actually want to do? Because even in that, there was a lot of heartache and a lot of tears and a lot of sweat that went into it. And I was like, man, am I just tired of it? Do I just want something else?
And that's a great point, because that's the difference between those types of tears and yours.
Because my tears and my sweat were for someone else.
Yes.
And it took me a couple months. It took me a while to realize that, and especially a conversation. I think I shared this with you guys in a prior episode, a conversation I had with a friend that was really real to the core, but it really hurt me.
Yeah.
And that's when he said, find a need.
Yes.
And create the solutions for it.
That's a simple equation.
And we did it. And I was like, but it's like, what is it? Like, I even thought of like opening a restaurant. Not that I know how to cook.
And we don't really just need a whole bunch of restaurants.
But especially in Orlando.
Yeah.
But I thought, maybe I don't want to do media. I don't want to do the creative entertainment industry. Like I want to do something different. But in all honesty, like I think I was focusing on the type of medium that I was kind of funneling before. And then when my friend told me that to find a place, find a problem, and I left and I knew immediately what it was, which is why we started these labs.
That's right.
And we call it labs just because it's a creative term.
Word. That's right. Because this is not a studio.
So it's almost like we feel like we're like doctors and whatever in the creative field. But anyway, but I built it and I had to like realize like, okay, I actually like this. Yeah. I do want to do this.
Sure.
But it wasn't until we saw it fulfilled that I was like, I see it now.
Yep.
You know?
That's right.
And it was scary because I was like, man, what if we throw all this money?
Right.
We make all these commitments. We sign off on a lot of things and we risk a lot. And then it turns out that it's nothing. That it was just a thought or an idea or a concept.
Right. That's a tough place, man.
It is. And it's being human.
That's true. 100%.
But at the same time, I think when you risk it and you take it and you do it, you know. And that's exactly what we're trying to get to. Those cues and something like I said, sometimes it's necessity, sometimes it's finding what makes you or moves you, so to speak. Then it's just like when you find the right person to be with the rest of your life. Exactly.
I remember I had a wise person tell me, he says, trust me, you'll know when you know. And I guarantee you, I mean, I thought that was the most cheesiest thing you could ever hear, but it's true. Right. When I met my wife, I knew the day I met her that this woman, I had to be with this woman on the inside of me. It wasn't motivation. I was inspired from the core of me to make this woman my wife. So same thing,
And but now that I've found this, because we have other businesses that me and my wife have together, but she kind of head fronts those businesses because it's her
her
desire,
thing. That's
her
right.
thing.
Yep.
And I back her up, and I'm very much involved and help a lot.
You are, bro. You do a great job.
And I love it, but it was never like
yours,
mine, right?
That's right.
It was hers and ours. But once I found this and I did this, and it's like, okay, but now my question is,
that's right.
How do I
keep it
going?
You got to keep the fire going.
And it's easier said than done.
That's right.
So what are things that we need to do for all of those that are listening and that have opened up a cookie shop or a restaurant
or considering those things,
or considering it?
Right.
How do they keep that cash flow? How do they keep that success, in that fire pit? Like
honestly, bigger than cash flow, just the inspiration, right? Because, all right, so perfect example, the fire, whatever ignited that thing, it's going to go to a phase where it starts to dwindle or fizzle out. Right? That's with anything, relationships, money, career, you name it. Even in your spiritual walk, there are times when you feel high and you have those super lows sometimes. But the question is what do I do to keep that fire burning? Right? I love in entrepreneurship, you hear people say a lot of times fire in the belly, having that deep commitment, that deep conviction, this wherewithal that says, I'm willing to risk everything I have to for this to work. And that can also go by the wayside if we're not careful. So we're going to talk a little bit about strategies on that, but we're going to talk about the reality of that. So like building a fire, for instance. So building a fire, you got sticks, you have...
Which I suck at it.
Well, dude, I was a Cub Scout when I was a kid, bro. I never got to be an Eagle Scout or anything, but I've watched enough Bear Grylls to see that you get some sticks and you get some tinder and it has to be really dry. You can ignite it. And we talked about that at the beginning. There are things that will start that fire for us, but it's your responsibility to keep that thing burning.
Right.
So then let's talk about that for a few minutes.
So when you find your fire, you want to keep it going. Initially, you were motivated.
Right.
There was a talk, a TED talk, whatever, a book you read,
or an event, like we said, something that happened.
Yeah. And it motivated you to jump and start something. But motivation doesn't last.
That's right.
Motivation is temporal.
It's temporal.
So what do we need to dig in for it to last in us?
You heard me kind of mention it a few minutes ago. Inspiration. Inspiration is different than motivation. Motivation is always based in the temporal. That's why I said bigger than cash flow, bigger than success. You have to identify and you really need to hone in and then connect with what inspires you or how you're inspiring through what may have motivated you. Otherwise, it will always die, right? We can be motivated by money, cars. We can be motivated by punitive, right? Because some people are afraid to go to jail. And like they say in the church, afraid to go to hell, right? So punitive things can motivate us, but they don't last. We have to find that thing that resonates with us on the inside, the core of us. And the only way we can do that is by identifying what motivates us, what's inspiring us, and then really, really doing whatever we can to get the inspirational side to be the biggest portion. That's going to fuel the fire and keep it burning.
Right. And then, there are things that we can do continually.
That's right.
To search for inspiration. And inspiration, in my case, is literally all around me.
That's exactly right.
And it's like the success of the story of the business 3 doors down or a podcast that I heard from Joe Rogan or whatever of the Lion King.
It's the truth, bro.
You find inspiration, but you have to seek these inspirations to keep that.
Or at least pay attention. Like you said, it's everywhere. There's a scripture that says that wisdom is in the street. She cries out in the marketplaces to anyone who would listen virtually. So basically, it's always around you. You just need to tune your radio dial a little bit to pick up what's there. I'll give you an example. So for me, I know for a fact what inspires me. It has helped me define my purpose. And the thing has been a centralized theme my whole entire life. I can watch Mighty Ducks. I can watch Cool Runnings. I can watch any of those types of films. And I'm the guy, as secure as I am in my manhood, that gets emotional that tears up because I am a true believer in the underdog.
Yeah.
I sincerely want more than anything else to help people find and define their purpose and then to be able to accelerate into it and accelerate others through it. That's it. And that's why I can cry at any of those movies because I see the people that I want to help.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. That's in movies.
Yeah.
Some people hear it in music. So you have to identify with that. And a lot of times it is connected to the creative element of who we are.
Yeah.
Not like the graphic designer in us, but the creative element. We want to bring things into existence, into life. That's going to really fuel the fire.
And once we have our fire and we have our inspiration, you know, a lot of times we don't even realize, like, what am I doing this for?
100%.
So what is it and why have you opened up your business for?
Right.
What, your goal, like, what is it? And I think it's sometimes we just don't think we haven't funneled down, like, who are we, you know,
bro, you're saying something,
launching
That's
our
right.
fire or our business
That's right.
to. And we need to define the purpose of our fire.
That's right. 100%.
Because, I mean, we can't just let it
just
be a
burn, right? Okay, got this fire. I got this building now.
Because eventually you'll burn out.
You will burn out. And that could be what has already taken place if we're honest with ourselves, as we always talk about in our last few podcasts. Again, this is about rebounding and rebuilding. So in our last few podcasts, we talked about things that may have actually caused us to fall into our pit. Same thing here. We have to be able to look back and evaluate, is this what happened in the past?
Yeah.
Did I get to burn out because I was always fueled by motivation or compulsion or always putting out fires and never tending to mine?
Yeah, totally.
That's a great place first, because you may have never defined why the heck you had a fire to begin with.
Exactly, yeah.
What's the point of having a fire if it's not doing something for you and others?
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Once you define who the fire is going to or what you're doing with the fire, you know, a key element, sometimes we want to build kingdoms for us.
Right.
And the problem is that if it's just our own kingdom, it's easy to take over.
100%.
Anybody can come and conquer. Now I'm going medieval times or like Minecraft.
Which is Minecraft, dude.
But if you build your own kingdom, I had a buddy of mine and he was into this game. It's not Minecraft. It's some Warcraft.
Some game. IG advertised game, I'm sure.
But dude, they were so invested. Like, they would spend money.
Bro, I know those people.
It's like sometimes he would tell me like, "Oh, dude, I just spent $500 in 3 hours." Like, what? So anyway, he's telling me, he's explaining to me about the game, right?
Right.
And he's telling me that they create alliances.
Yes.
So certain kingdoms create alliances, and they protect each other from invaders because anybody can come and invade. Long story short, essentially he said, if someone leaves a premise that's unprotected, someone else is going to invade and take over 100%. And you can't get them out.
Yeah.
So if you're so focused on my fire, like I got to protect this fire, this is my thing.
Right.
It's easy for it to be taken over.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have to learn how to share.
Share.
And let others come
on,
and be around the fire. I heard an inspiration speaker. She was saying how when we stop focusing on our needs, and start focusing on trying to supply someone else's needs, especially, she was obviously speaking in context of business education, coaching. When you start focusing on others, you'll eventually find your own
100%.
need in your calling.
That's right.
It'll
100%.
come easily.
It'll come easy. And there's scriptures that even support that, right? So like, he who waters will be watered, he who blesses will be blessed. There's all kinds of context. Give and it will be given back to you. That's bro, come on. This is a law. We have physics, which again, you know, I'm a scientist, I'm a master of science. This is what we study. There are laws that no matter what you do, they're not going to change. They're not going away. This is one that applies to us as well in the spiritual, in the physical, natural. If you bless, it'll come back to you. Now, it may not come back to you in the same form, But that's okay because what you need is going to show up when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important person. But you're right. We need to learn how to share our fire. And that's sometimes why the fire dwindles. Because we didn't give it anywhere. We're just like, yeah, look at my bonfire. Look how big it is.
And I did it myself.
Yeah, I did it myself. I cut this log down and I did this and you can't have it. Well, you dummy. The point was it could provide fire and heat and so much other and can be a great resource for others. And you're limiting what you have been gifted with.
Now, I'm not going to get into politics.
Right. You don't have to.
Because
not necessary. It's okay.
I would go down a rabbit trail and like I'm so passionate about that right now. Sure. But, you know, this whole tax the rich thing.
I understand.
You know, sometimes we don't realize like the rich actually are giving.
I can understand
to the poor.
I do understand what you're saying.
Because if it weren't for the rich,
sure,
there wouldn't be jobs.
Understood.
For the poor. But going back to all these high level entrepreneurs,
yeah, understood.
Elon Musk, Bill Gates,
right,
so on and so forth. They built an empire,
right?
But they started
from the ground floor,
from the ground.
Yeah, it's true.
But they built a team to help them build that empire.
Bro, and you can read on Elon or Bill Gates, they all say that. And Elon, I think it was one that said, he's not the only person to say it again. We're always borrowing wisdom from someone.
Yeah.
But he was like, I hire people, the smartest people in the room, not to tell them what to do so they can tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why he's where he's at. And you look at anyone else who's really, really made it.
Yeah.
That was the point. These guys are called visionaries because they shared their fire.
Yeah.
And then people were willing to say, all right, I'll invest into that fire as well. Let's fuel it together.
Exactly.
But here's the other thing. He also took care of them. We'll talk about that later. I think we were mentioning that. He was able to use those funds to then bless the people that are working for him. You think everybody that works for him is not doing well?
Yeah.
Again, there are different levels, but there are some people that started with him on that ground floor. We just don't see them in the news.
And the amount of people that they employ.
Right.
Like the amount of people that they have around them, around the world.
Yeah.
For a while, I wanted to work for Google or one of these high-tech companies in San Francisco or the Valley over there. And there was one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to work with them was because I would hear what they would do for their employees. And for all those of you, watch the movie The Internship.
Yeah, I did see
with
that.
Owen Wilson and Will Ferrell.
No, it's not Will Ferrell. It's the other guy. I don't know. You know,
Owen
just
Wilson
watch the movie.
But I saw the way Google was, like the insides of Google. And obviously it's a movie, but I heard a lot of this stuff is true. But they offer dry clean, free car wash, free daycare, free Starbucks coffee, free lunches, like an hour of Zen and an hour of this and blah blah.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like
they get it as an employer, so to speak.
They did it because in their mindset is we take care of our employee, our employee works harder.
At least.
So it's a way of building like one
buy-in.
Respect, loyalty, and also it's a teamwork thing.
By all means,
where the company I was with before I went solo was a great company, loved them, and it was time to where it's like because I built a team there. I was one of the leads there, and I built a team, and I would hear a lot, and this isn't to my own horn or anything, but they would say, for other people, say like, man, Carlos, you are actually a great boss. You are a great boss.
Right.
And I never saw it. I was just like, and what I loved that I never saw it was because I saw myself as one of them.
And that's exactly what I was hoping you would say.
Yeah.
Because that's essentially what you're getting at. When we were talking about, and I knew where you were going, we're not talking about just going to work for someone else, which, by the way, if that's what someone wants to do, if you're listening, we're not discouraging that. This is not about just entrepreneurship. This is about you rebounding and rebuilding in your life, in your career, in your direction, in your path of choice. And that's going to take many people in different directions.
Yeah.
But essentially speaking is being able to value and honor the impact you're having or can have on other people and the impact they can have on your fire.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Uh-huh. And you know, it was, for me, it filled me with joy to fix problems and help them and give them the tools. But unconsciously, I was building this respect
100%
from this team.
Because you respected them.
And I respect it because I knew essentially in the position that I was in, I knew where they had come from or where they were coming from because I came from there.
Yes.
I started at the bottom with nothing and then came up.
Yes.
So that's where I was like, you know what? I want to keep building teams and I want to keep building for others to have a place, to get filled, to have purpose, to grow. And that's essentially why we built this place where it's like a creative environment for others to come.
Yes.
And create.
That's right.
But you have to be very careful. And I want to encourage you, when you build your fire, you build your business, learn how to share it.
That's right.
Because if you hide it, it'll dwindle.
And honestly, there'll be no one there to rescue you either. You'll be needing people to come later to inspire you, and they're going to go a totally opposite direction.
Exactly.
Because you weren't there for them.
Exactly.
And I think you said something that I was drawing from your statement, and I hope our listeners, I hope your viewers are really getting that, is there's never a level that you get to where you're at the top. It's in our minds. And if you think that you're higher at any point in time, you're lower than the low.
Yeah.
What you should be doing is always staying in touch with what it took or what happened to create that fire to begin with, and use that as a source of inspiration to recognize that everyone is on the same level.
Yeah.
I've been there. So if I've been there, I can assimilate, associate, and understand that you need and can use my fire to help you get from where you are.
Yeah.
It's never about just ascending to the top and these people are beneath me. No one is beneath us.
Yeah.
And some people have not been honest enough with themselves to recognize that's also why they've had to rebound and rebuild over and over and over again, and nothing stayed.
Yeah.
Because the problem wasn't with what they were trying to do. It was within themselves.
And then I want to jump to, there are a lot of lousy people out there.
There are. Let's just keep it real, man.
It is a fact. There are a lot of haters. There are a lot of people that are jealous.
You're never doing anything until you have haters.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
the truth.
And that's probably a compliment to
That's
anybody.
exactly what I mean.
If people are hating on you, you're probably doing
something.
One of the things, especially with this, the labs, we did not tell anybody.
Yes.
Until they were done.
Yeah.
I think we told a couple of close friends.
Yes.
You guys,
of course,
were one of them, and maybe our parents.
Right.
But the fact is that we didn't want to share because you have people.
Yes.
I use this term, or I actually got it from my previous employer, crabby Christians. So they never want to see you succeed.
Sure.
And I think I've mentioned the crab story before.
Right. Crabs in a barrel.
They never let them out. So anyway, all I say is that be jealous of your fire.
I can understand that. Yes, you have to protect it. You do. And it's a difference between keeping it away from people and actually guarding it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Because again, you can share it.
Yeah.
But you can share it with those.
I said a statement years ago. I remember talking, and I learned this, believe it or not, from a previous employer before my wife and I, we always had our businesses, but before we went full time with our own businesses. And I'll never forget, I used to say, I learned this in one place that I wish I had never had to learn it. But since I learned it, it was one of the most valuable things I've ever learned. And it was never share your dreams with people who are not intended or not intentional about investing in your dream.
Wow.
Because if they have no intent.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, bro. Never share your dream with anyone who is not intended or intentional about investing in your dream. Because the moment you share it, that's when you start hearing, oh, you really think that's a good idea? Or I don't think that's what I would do. I didn't ask you. Mm-hmm. I shared it with you because there was something in me that felt that you would support me. But a lot of times we set ourselves up for disappointment because we assume that everyone wants to support our fire, our dream. Yeah. And we also forget that a lot of people had fires that went out a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So they assume that fires
come and go,
mm-hmm. but not yours. Yeah. And even if it does, you owe it to yourself to at least try to start that thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Light it anyway.
Yeah. Light it anyway.
Light it anyway.
You know, and the thing is, again, people don't want to see you higher than themselves.
And that's a truth. That's not everyone, but you have to be honest that that's a reality. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's happened to me many times. Right. I know it's happened to you as well. And it's happened to other friends of mine as well that I've heard countless stories of, you know, I wanted to start this and, just this guy came in, partnered and then walked out. And, you hear so many horror stories. Yeah. So that's why you have to protect it. You have to be zealous.
That's a great word for it. Yeah.
What you built.
Your fire. That's right.
You built this. It costs you tears. It costs you sweat. Right. It costs you pain. You protect it. And, there are a lot of wolves in this world who are dressed up as sheep.
That's in every area, though.
And we've talked about this in the last episode. Remember about being careful who influences your life, who's in your circle, whether it's family or friends.
It doesn't matter.
Whoever it is.
Right.
There are wolves out there.
That's true.
That are coming in that are going to rob your heat.
They want to steal it. Yeah.
Because you're producing good heat.
You're producing something.
And they're leeches sometimes who come in and just get freebies.
That's the dilemma.
And then walk out.
But I will tell you this, and this is just something that I've come to learn in the businesses that we've run. Yeah. Sometimes it's better to let them come in, not because they can destroy things, but because they set themselves up for destruction. Now, I'm not advocating that people be set up and put in traps. I'm not talking about anything like that. You asked me, I think we had a conversation not long ago, and you were asking me like, bro, like, how do you keep that from happening? What if someone comes in and steals one of your clients, or they're coming in and they're taking the fire from what you're doing? Now, I'm not talking about people that need boundaries. First of all, we need to learn how to set boundaries, healthy boundaries to keep our relationships in the right places. That is on us. Yeah. But then there are people outside of that circle or sphere that may come in to your dream and, like you said, come in and try to sabotage this and that. But I always say, let them get close to the fire. The closer to the fire, the better. Because it's there if you don't know. I think that's what you were asking me. You were saying, how do you know them? How do you identify them? Especially if they're in sheep's clothing.
Because I was going to say.
That's what it was.
You're contradicting yourself. But then, so show me how I can identify them.
Yes, that's how you identify them. Thank you for that clarification. But if you let them get close to the fire, what comes out in the light has to be exposed. Yeah. Right? What's done in the dark comes to the light. Yeah. If someone gets close, I can see you clearly now. And I'm not talking about so close that you give them your trade secrets. Let them run with you and you'll see, you'll run the brakes off of them. I've done it. I have literally done it in my careers, whether I work for someone else or even in my own businesses. Some people that I didn't say that I knew, I just wasn't sure, but I needed to know and I wanted confirmation. I let them get close to what I was doing and they could not keep up.
Wow.
They just couldn't handle it. And here's the other thing. Sometimes we get so protective of all that we're doing, but we forget that's also a way to discover who's what. Yeah. Because if you're doing a lot, like you said, you built this. This is your circle or you have people that are adding to this fire. Yeah. There are people who are benefiting and doing great things with it. When they try to come around that, they can't help but get burnt up. Yeah. And they get confused. You can't steal everything. Yeah. The moment you walk away with X, okay, cool. Well, we've already phased out of X anyway, so that's all you got.
And one of the things that I think really hurts us on building a fire is aside of the leeches and the wolves and whatnot is the opinions that we listen to.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how you built the fire.
Yes. at all.
If it's burning and you're
it's working, bro.
It's working.
Right.
So let it be. But sometimes, especially, I can tell you this as, I've struggled with it. I guess I like to hear people
affirm
all the time and be positive.
I understand that.
And I've learned that the hard way. People's first instinct isn't to be positive.
It's not.
The first thing, and I tell you and some of the people that we told about us opening this facility was, are you sure? Can you do it? And then it was, can you handle it?
Right. Wow.
And it was sad because it was like, oh my gosh, like
of all the things,
of course, like we're not sure.
Right.
We're freaking out, but we're doing it in fear.
That's right. Doing it afraid.
Doing it and pushing for it. And yes, we are worried. Yes, we are.
But you're concerned.
And it's like, but I'm more excited.
That's exactly right.
I want to want to start this fire. Like I want to start it yesterday. And we had to like push aside those opinions.
You have to.
And the funny thing is now that we've said it and built it, those opinions, they've changed it.
Bro, come on. That's one of the greatest statements.
To the point.
Every time.
I'll say this, and I'll say this in camera, and I think he won't mind.
Sure.
But one of those opinions was my dad. When I told him that I was starting this venture, the first thing he said was like, "Ay, Dios mío." We're Mexican, so he's like, "Ay, Dios mío." And the next thing he said was, "Can you afford it?" And obviously, it's my dad. It's my best friend, my hero. And that was the last thing I wanted to hear from him.
Sure.
But I said, you know what? There's valid concern.
Because he's still dad.
He's dad. He's a man. He has 4 kids. He has 4 kids. But I said, Dad, trust me.
Right.
And don't worry.
Yes.
But that didn't mean that opinions kept coming.
That's right.
It wasn't until I think a week before launch that he was in here with me, helping me with some things. And he's like, I'm like excited. And I'm like, what? Like, that was a 180.
Yeah, sure.
And I said, you were really concerned he's like, I was concerned because of what I was seeing. Yes. I couldn't see it.
And that's typically.
And he saw it and he was like, oh, I'm excited. So I'll tell you this, you can distinguish.
Yes.
From those that actually want to see you succeed from those who actually want to see you stagnant.
Yeah, true. And that's a tough statement you just made.
And my dad is like close as can be to me.
Sure.
So it was like, man, are you trying to destroy my dreams?
Right.
Or are you trying to? And it was his fear.
And that's exactly what it is.
And it was his concern for his grandkids, for me, for my wife.
Sure.
And again, it happened. And like I said, he won't mind me sharing it.
Sure.
But when he told me, I'm like excited. Like,
right.
Everything looked so nice.
It's always like that.
I was like, it brought so much like, I can share this with you.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
that's right. That's a way to keep the fire. We didn't even talk about, that to the degree, but even before it, right? How do you keep that fire burning? Mm-hmm. We talked about people that come and steal it. We talked about, but what are you doing to actually feed the fuel of inspiration?
Because the coals that you have now and the wood you have now are going to run out.
They're going to run out. So you're going to have to. So part of it, as you said, was share. So let other people be a part of the freaking vision, man.
Yeah.
Come on. And you'll know because like you said, their initial reaction is, how can I help?
Yeah.
That's why I said the statement that I said. But what are you doing personally? Yeah. What am I doing? What are you doing personally to fuel that inspiration? Yeah. And that's what we talked about. You need to be continually growing. Don't just let your business be the factor of your education. Go to seminars.
Yeah.
Yes, you may get tired of hearing a motivational speaker or whatever, but go anyway.
Yeah.
Because one, you don't know everything. And if you think you do, well, your fire's on its way out already. But secondly, forget that. Sometimes you need to be around other people who are just as inspired as you or that you want to be.
Yeah. Exactly.
So getting yourself in that, maybe joining a mastermind group, a group of accountability CEOs. Yeah. I love that more. In fact, that's one of the business, the model in our business is after we take people through our year of coaching, some people don't even know this. We do purpose coaching and life coaching and lifestyle coaching and et cetera. But
which, by the way, they're very good coaches.
Listen,
side plug.
I ain't even gonna say, but we do because.
But where can people find out about that?
You can check us out online at aspirehigherlife.com. Aspirehigherlife.com. But the point I'm making is we take people through this process, and after that, we get them connected with other like-minded people who can hold them accountable to all that process we walk them through. And that's sometimes what we're missing. We haven't focused on the purpose of our fire and the intent. Invest in other people that can add fuel to the fire, and you can add fuel to theirs.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think another thing is risk.
Yeah, take the freaking risk, but go ahead.
Like there's no way that you can sustain a fire with the same type of wood.
That's right.
You go through a year long and you won't find the same type of wood.
That's true.
You have to evolve. You have to find different kinds of wood that
there might be better. That's right.
Might be better, might be cheaper, might be more expensive.
Might be synthetic.
Might be synthetic. But the thing is, you have to find wood. You have to find ways to keep going.
That's right.
And evolve in the process.
That's right.
And I think in the evolution process, Charles, I mean, you're going to blast that fire so high that you're going to be astonished yourself.
Yes.
I'm like, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, we were sitting down here and I'm literally telling Charles, I can't believe we're here already.
Right.
And Charles is like, oh, I can. And I'm like, but I can't.
Yeah, but when we were talking about this was ideation. I knew it wasn't going to be long.
And then I think another thing is like, remember, networking.
That's right.
Rub shoulders, like you just said.
That's right.
Rub shoulders with those people that are in the same wavelength.
Let me say this, because you just brought up something that I pray that someone gets this. One of the greatest lessons I've ever learned in business, and one of the reasons why we were able to take off and do all the things we've done in so many areas, is because we stopped coming to people for what we can get and approach them for what we can give. Your wife actually is brilliant at this. I've watched her in your other brands with the gifting company, Hello. She is so wonderful at taking things, putting boxes together and finding CEOs that says, I don't want anything. I just want to gift you, let you know I'm here. Now, yes, some people think, well, that's a tactic. You know, she's using marketing. No, but you got to understand, her origination of that is, I just want to bless this person.
It's heart.
Her heart is pure. And I have a business mentor that speaks on that. He's been the vice president of Zig Ziglar International. He has multiple. This guy, he rubs shoulders. Dignitaries all around the world fly him out just to come talk with them for a 30-minute conversation. But he was telling me, you know, that you have to have a pure heart and pure hands. Now that's a difficult one for people to receive. Because everyone has met someone initially that you just get this sense, I don't like this person. Something about them, I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. But the point of the matter is, if your intentions are not pure, people will find you out. So that's essentially something that when you said that, bro, I just wanted to make sure that I interjected with that because you have to enter relationships. And if you want really well-established relationships, rubbing shoulders, go tell someone, hey, listen, I would love to be around you. Keep me as a liability until I can become an asset.
Wow. I think you need to elaborate on that.
Yes. So
because I think people don't realize that.
Absolutely.
How important it is.
Absolutely. Everyone is always thinking about, I need to contact this person and be in touch with him because they can help me get to my next level.
Yeah.
But how many people are saying, you know what? I'm going to reach out to them and ask them, how can I help them reach their next level?
It's the me mentality.
100%. I don't live by that. I live by genuinely, I come into relationships, even ours, bro. Yeah. If you remember when we first started reconnecting, I was like, how can I help you? How can I be a part of your vision? I want to support you. I want to cheerlead you. I've never asked you for anything, but that has developed our friendship. Yeah. Years later, we didn't know we would have our own podcast, that we would have multiple streams of income, that we'd be a part of each other's brands. These are your gifts, but it came because there was a pure relationship, an intentional desire to see you reach your dreams.
Yeah.
And you have been a part of ours. Yeah. You have to change your mindset. And if you really want something that's going to fuel your fire, that is it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
If you can help somebody, you will find your purpose. Yeah. You will recognize the purpose of your fire all along was to fuel others' fires.
Yes. You're right. And that goes back to that saying is like, if you find, you know, from that on
the motivational speaker,
what she said, find ways to help others get where they need to be, and your way will come through easily.
100%.
You know, earlier I was to remember the one thing that I forgot that I wanted to say.
Yeah, say it.
It's consistency.
That is very true.
You know, sometimes and we all struggle, whether it's diet, whether it's this or that. But if you are not consistent on feeding that fire, consistent, there will be days when you wake up and that fire is low, and that flame is barely noticeable.
That's right.
And if you don't feed it, it'll die.
That's right.
Fire is just the fuel within you.
100%.
And it'll eventually, a train.
Yeah.
It runs on steam.
Or the old ones at least.
The old ones, yeah. Yeah, now they're electrical, all of them. Right. So a train runs on steam. You need fire to boil those boilers.
Yep.
But you need coal to light the fire.
Right.
And you need an operator to feed coal in the boiler.
That's right.
But if you don't have those steps,
that's right,
constantly going, the train is not going to get anywhere.
That's right. That's right.
So I say all that. Be consistent. Be fervent. Be intentional to do things.
Yes.
Constant.
That's
constant.
right.
Constant.
That's right.
Even if you make mistakes,
doesn't matter.
Evolve, change it, but do it again.
Just keep doing it again.
Constant. And it doesn't matter what people say or tell you. Oh, well, you tried it. Give it up.
Bro, this is amazing. So I was listening to Brendan Bouchard, and he's incredible. He has written books about, you know who this is, right? Okay, perfect. So I don't have to go down the line. But in case you don't know him, look him up. He's really incredible. And he talks about consistency, especially in high performance habits.
Yeah.
But consistency. So like you think of millionaires. So most millionaires on average, I think in the American averages or average around the world for millionaires is 52 years of age.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
Now, they were millionaires from the beginning because they had a millionaire mindset, but their manifestation of millions don't always come instantly. Our world, we think it all happens instantly.
Yeah.
Because of the 0.01% who had a YouTube channel playing some video game and got paid $1 million. But anyway, but the point I'm making is if you invest, let's say,
lotto.
But hear me out. Yeah. If you invest $100 a month consistently for 20 years, you still could be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Not because you invested some huge lump sum or you got your hand on some lump sum, but you did something small and it was the only thing you did. I think that's what the problem is too with the fire thing is we always think that we have to keep the fire as big as it started. Yeah. We just need to keep the fire lit. So keep doing that same little thing and don't think it needs to be bigger all the time.
Yeah, and reminds me of another thing. Do not compare your seasons.
Better believe it. Come on, bro.
Comparing one fire from one time to another doesn't mean that you're failing.
At all.
And I like that you said just keep it going. Because as long as there's fire, there is consumption happening.
As long as there's fire.
So don't compare, and also do not compare your fire to someone else's.
You better not.
We've said this on Rebound and Rebuild
sure do.
Over and over and over again. Comparison is the enemy of success.
Yes, that's right.
Because your success is not the same. Mine is not the same as Charles, and yours is not the same as ours. So just keep constant, keep lighting that as with what you can.
Yes.
Because sometimes, like I said, wood is different.
That's right.
Like some is synthetic, which is what is it? The lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Which is the easiest probably kind. But anyway, just be consistent.
Be consistent,
and don't compare.
That's right.
Don't compare. And sometimes some fires are blue, some fires are red.
That's true too. Some are hotter than others and some are cooler than others, but they still burn. Yeah. But that leads to our last point though, right? And the fact that you don't have to compare, you need to enjoy. And that's why we took that long segue to get back here because it was very important to discuss those other things.
Yeah. it's easy for us to forget where it all began.
That's right.
Especially for all of those that are way ahead or, have multiple fires everywhere.
Right.
It's easy to forget.
Which is a great series. Have you seen that? Little Fires Everywhere? You need to watch that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Bro, that's freaking amazing. Great
That's
work.
with Reese Witherspoon?
Yes, of course.
Yes. But, especially again, both Charles and I are Christian.
Yes.
And we are believers in our Creator, God, Jesus Christ. And we can't forget to honor our Creator.
That's right.
Because He's the one that has fed you.
That's right.
In the good times and in the bad.
Right.
And sometimes we see times that are bad, but really they're not bad.
They're really not bad.
They're building.
They're inconveniences.
Yes. They're
struggles
times
and
to build.
That's right.
So do not forget who made it all possible.
I believe that.
And honor that.
That's right. And we know that not everyone who watches this program is Christian and some of them don't believe in God. And yet they still come to us because we're just trying our best to offer our wisdom. And like I said at the beginning, wisdom is everywhere. Yeah. But we personally believe that because there's got to be a source so that we can be a resource.
Exactly.
You can't be a resource if there wasn't an original source.
No.
And so essentially, if you're going to fuel the fire of others, you have to be drawing from something.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it will be a matter of time that you are either going to be self-consumed or consumed by all that you can't create.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about that.
Exactly.
Self-consumed people are all me mentality.
Yeah. And they don't last.
They can't.
Mm-hmm. It's not self-sustainable.
It's not.
But anyway, this has been awesome.
It's been great, man.
I hope you like the way we look.
Once again, who cares?
And if you don't, well,
that's right.
It is what it is.
I look fly.
But we are excited. First episode on YouTube. First episode being recorded live. Not live, but recorded.
Yeah.
And
it's live for us.
Yeah. But we want to encourage you.
Sure.
If you like the podcast, if you like what you're listening to, leave us your comments.
Please.
Leave us questions.
Sure.
Tell us what you want us to talk about.
Share it, please.
Share it on all your social media platforms. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, share it again with anyone you want. This has been phenomenal.
Yeah, man.
Just to sit here with you, talk about what we're going through, how we want to get better, the things that we're envisioning for the future,
and how we want to help them get better.
Exactly. And if send us your stories too.
Please.
We'd love to read some success stories, some rebound and rebuild stories.
It's been great, bro. And I'm so appreciative just to have you in my life. And of course, you all, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you. And we hope that you'll come back and check us out next week here on Rebound and Rebuild.
This is Coach Charles. And Carlos, the creator.
Ladies and gentlemen,